comment call below. Comment call, and we'll reach out to you. You can get an hour with us. We'll give you a roadmap if you want to hear about this and how you can get started for less than $600. Badass. Let's do it. And if you just want to leave with a game plan, that's great too. Keep coming to our lives. Keep soaking this in, because guys, I want you to build this life. I want you to build that life of freedom where you have the freedom to live life on your own terms. You have the finances, you have the time, and you're worry-free. Very important. So I don't care how you get there. I just want you to get there. Welcome to Gym Owner Freedom. I am Scott Carpenter, and I am a former broke, struggling, frustrated, and overworked gym owner that felt stuck no matter what I did to try and improve the business. Once I realized that the answer wasn't what I thought it was, just getting more clients, and after really doing the math on acquisition and churn rates, I realized I wasn't even playing a winnable game to begin with. With my current price structure, mathematically, there was no way I could afford to pay my staff so I could scale up and out of the business, that I can have the time, the money, the impact, and the freedom that I always knew I was capable of. Once I learned how to add value by selling transformational programs to people who needed more than just workouts, everything changed in my life. Today, I own 6 gyms that all run without me, and I am free to pursue my passion projects and work just because I love to, not because I have to. And if that's a goal that we mutually share together, then this is the show for you. I'm going to teach you the framework to make way more money with less clients and open up a world of possibilities to you. Subscribe, leave a review, and tune in every week. It'll change your life. I promise you that. All right, we are live. Dave, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, brother. What's going on, man?
Dude, it's January 4th today, man. Oh, shit. I am so excited for this year. Like, everything's blowing up. Gonna be the biggest year ever, even though with studios, we've had some issues, right? And can you see this P&L statement right now, Dave? I don't know if I'm sharing the right thing.
You're not sharing the right thing. It looks like you're on your Facebook Live right now. So it's going to be other screen.
All right, let's share the whole screen, because I changed my desktop resolution. So hopefully it'll share the whole thing now. So can you see this?
We are good. That's it. That's
okay,
perfect.
Cool. All right, guys. So I'm going to let everybody know that we are in live real quick. And so I'm going to tag everybody inside the Gym Owner Freedom group. This is one that you're really going to want to watch, because we're going to open up and show you not just a P&L, but multiple P&Ls. And these aren't, spreadsheets. This is actually the bookkeeping software. And then we're going to diagnose, what is this net profit margin? How are we doing it? And then, what is the payroll? Payroll is your biggest expense, right? Next to your rent and all that kind of stuff. And how do you really design this to make profits of 30 to 50%, where you can bring home 200 grand, 250, $300,000 in net profit? That's massive. That's life-changing shit. And so instead of just telling, just to show you, let's just show you how we've done this. So let's see if this pulls up where I can go into it. Yeah, here we go. Going to comment at everyone. We are live. Then I'll give everybody the notification. So we're good there. I'll try to keep an eye on the comments too on the separate computer. It's a little bit different. I wanted to share my whole screen so that way we can use calculators together and really figure out, how do we build this business that changed your life? Sound good? Okay. So this is the bookkeeping software we can use. Now, it's probably showing up a little small on your screen. Unfortunately, bookkeeping software sucks. There's no way I can zoom in on it, but you can see it, and you can always pause it and watch it later. So initially, what I was going to talk about, and we're still going to get to it, is what are those 4 main roles? What are the 4 main jobs in your studio? And how do you design them to have a comp plan that enables you to pay people a lot, but you make big margins? And that's where a lot of gym owners really struggle, is the fact that you can make good money, but you're working like 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and you can't get to everything. And then you're stressed. It's just, there's all these things left undone. But quite often, these businesses, we don't design them to make enough margin so that we can pay to get out of the gym if we don't want to work there anymore. Or maybe you just want to work 30 hours a week, or 20 or 5. That's up to you to decide. That's not up to me to decide. So with me and my gyms, I design them all so I don't have to be the one working in it. And I haven't worked in my gyms in many years. I don't ever want to go back into working into them. And there's nothing wrong with it. I just moved on to different things. It doesn't excite me as much. So the bottom line is you need to create a real business. And a real business, you can make money just being a shareholder. And regardless if you still want to work full-time in your gym, that's totally okay. Nothing wrong. Raj, let's go. I love it. Okay, so here's the actual booking software. This is not a PDF. It's not a printout. So we're going to look at multiple years. But I was going to go over the pay structure and comp plans. We're still going to do that. But I'm like, let me just hurry up and get this P&L done. So that way we can look, because it's January 4th. So I'm like, you know what? I just hopped on 2 hours ago and I did December P&L. So we have a full year of data, January 1 to December 31st. Right on here. Okay. So first of all, note the net profit at the bottom. So what we don't have in here, we have no payments to any ownership in here. So we can see a clear net owner benefit, right? So this is just the raw profit here. So we have $284,209, okay, divided by $570,526 in revenue. That comes out to 49.8% net profit. This is what I want for you guys, okay? There's a caveat to this. If you are still working full-time in the gym, you can definitely hit 50% profit margin, maybe even a little bit above. Okay, we're right at 49.8. I have an operating partner who runs this. She kicks ass. Okay, now let's say she wanted to replace herself and no ownership works in this gym at all. Okay, so let's say she's like, hey, I'm working full-time in this 35, 40 hours. I don't want to work in it anymore. So we'd have to hire to replace her, right? Let's say we made it a great job and paid 80 grand for somebody to come in and be the GM, be the mayor of this location. Well, let's just look at what that would be. So instead of $284,000 in profit, we'd have, you can see my calculator, right, Dave?
Yep, you're good.
Awesome. We'd have $204,000, okay, divided by the 575,206 in revenue. We'd be at 35.8% profit margin. So exactly where I told you I want you to be, 30 to 50%, okay? Maybe I didn't figure out payroll taxes in there. So yeah, say you're at 31, 32%. Perfect, ideal, okay? This is how you want to do it. So we're going to deconstruct and show you this. So that's what we had last year. But what I like to do, you guys know, I like to be transparent, okay? I like to really show you the numbers, good and bad. This is one of my better locations, okay? I do have ones that aren't this high too. Make no mistake, they're still making great margins, right? And we have one that's only 1,300 square feet, right? It's doing, at least in maybe not last year. I don't know what last year's was. I haven't done it yet, but 2022, I know it averaged 30 grand a month, right, Dave?
Yep.
Your co-owner on that one. And so like 360, I believe, I can't remember what the total profit was, but it was 120, 130 to 40, 120 to 140. And it was 30 something % profit margin. So do all of them perform like this? No. But can you have a studio that can make you 100 grand doing no work in it? Yeah, absolutely. You can have multiple ones. So we're proof that you can do this. But anyways, here's 2023. Let's look at 2022. So 2022 was very similar, right? I think we did a little bit less. We did slightly less revenue in 2023 than 2022, which is okay. You don't always have to move the needle if it's doing really well. If you're a mature club that's making great profit, leave it alone. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. So it did 585,000 in revenue last year with 317,612 in profit. So if we do the math on that, I did that wrong. So 317,612 divided by 585,213, that did 54% profit margin in 2022, right? Difference is 2022 to 2023, my operating partner did a little bit less work, right? So revenue dropped a little bit because sometimes your staff can't perform as well as you can. That's normal. And you're paying out a little bit more too, right? So that matches pretty well. Let's look back in 2021 even, right? Because what I want to show you guys, this isn't something where we hit a great year and we're just trying to show you, right? We want to be transparent. So in 2021, we did 475,000, almost 476,000 in revenue. This was a little bit weird, right? Because what happened in 2021, we got some PPP payouts. So if you notice, 26,000 of that was from PPP. It's right at the top. But look, see, this is crazy though. 292,000 was profit, even higher profit. Why is that? So let's take a look at the margin. The margin was 61.5% was profit. Now, we're not going to do that again, most likely, because what happened during this? We still had COVID and we had some closures. So the owner operator was doing more of the work, as not all the employees were back at that point. So that's why there was more profit in the bank. Revenue was lower, right, than it has been, about $100,000 lower or so. And if we go back to 2020, where we also had closures, again, we had 423,000 in revenue. Some of you that are watching this from Canada or California are like, you son of a bitch. We had it a lot easier because Arizona was not shut down as much. And we are primarily not a large group model. We do overlapping personal training, which is like small group or semi-private. Subtle differences. And this is why we make such great margins too, is because it's overlapping PT. But we didn't get slammed like a lot of people did with COVID, because the large group models got hammered by COVID. And if you notice, we're actually higher revenue now than we were pre-COVID. And yeah, it's the large group model took a big hit with COVID and is really struggling now because there's so much competition there, and market equilibrium has changed. And acquisition and churn, where they cancel each other out, is now many members lower than it used to be pre-COVID. So we weathered the storm a lot better. And there's no reason, if you're a large group training gym, there's no reason you can't take exactly what we're doing and add it on. And I've been having we've helped a lot of people do that. Still keep group, but also have overlapping personal training. And what these group gyms have done have been to double revenue in some cases and triple profits. It's awesome. So anyways, 247, 285 on the profit that year, divided by 423, 221. It's at 58% margins, which is higher, right? Again, because of the shutdowns and the operating partner was doing more work herself. So that's why those numbers are a little bit different. But again, going to this year, $284,000 in profit out of $570,000 in revenue. Okay. So averaging around 50K a month, little under. But the profit is so damn sweet at 49.8%. So guys, this is how you want to run a business. You don't want to do 10% profit like that. That's how a lot of them run. And there are people out there playing the ego game, saying they did 800,000 in revenue or $1 million, but their margins are 10 to 15%. And at the end of the day, that's not that impressive, guys. You can do more with way less work and way less risk and way less ad spend. So that's a good point. Like if we look at the ad spend, we're under $1,000 a month. We're under $1,000 a month here for ad spend. So we don't rely a lot on ads, paid ads at all. We do some, not a lot. Fees and processing charges. Yeah, we're paying 18 grand in credit card fees. Nobody likes seeing that. You see a lot of discussion on trying to get people to ACH. At the end of the day, if you're catering towards wealthy people, not even wealthy people, people who value what you do and are happy to pay, like I just let them pay with the American Express, man. I mean, I find it to be a pain in the ass when people want to do an ACH or something like that with me. I'm like, can't I just use my Amex on file? The people who want to pay you $800 a month, they want to get the points for their vacations. I can promise you that. I can promise you that, guys. So it's worth looking into maybe for large group, but guys, you're not going to win by saving. You're not going to get wealthy and have an abundance of time and money by saving. I can promise you that. If you focus your efforts on increasing revenue, it's phenomenally easier, infinitely easier. Okay. Let's see. What else do we want to go over here? So bottom line is, if we did the math on it, which I did, earlier, and I've got it right here in front of me. Rent represents about 11% of expenses. Okay. My payroll, this labor right here, represents 28.6%. That's where it's at. And if you are owner operated, like you can easily get it within that. Some places say 4/9. I think that's too much. And most of you will struggle to make profit. Now, there is a way, though, to pay your staff a lot and still make really high margins. And that's what we're going to get into today. Okay. So other expenses, this is going to be overhead, software, ads, all that stuff represents about 10% of revenue. So altogether, that's about 50%. Last year, it was very nearly similar. Payroll was a bit less, and we had higher margins, right? So that's what we're looking at. Does that make sense? And if you have any questions on this, throw it in the comments. So I'd like to see if you have any questions on any of these numbers. We would love to see it, and we'd love to answer your questions. So as they come in, go ahead and throw them out there. Now, is it okay if we break down exactly kind of how we handle the comp plans? And the only business that scales is a simple business in my book. When things are really complicated, when there's a lot of moving parts, it's really hard to do multiple locations. It's really hard to get yourself out of that business because it's really reliant on you and your specialized knowledge. It's tough. And let's take a look. So first, let's zoom out. And this is the journey that I've been on that I want you to be on. Okay. I struggled. My gyms were not like this for many, many years. Dave, you came on board when I got the second gym. Then you became a partner in the third gym while running the second gym. It wasn't like this then, was it?
No, not even close, man. It was a decade of a bunch of scars that led to this moment.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And us working tirelessly around the clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
and during that process, we were growing, we were making profit. Like, yeah, you got to launch a profitable business model. And doing that, like we teach you how to launch high ticket inside of your model, whether you're group, semi, PT, whatever. That's super important. That's going to allow you to get these margins, right? Then the second phase is really growing your profit. And you go all in on acquisition to generate huge profitability. I need you making 100 to 200K a month or a year. That'd be great. I need you to make 100 to 200K profit per year. You're still working full time in this business, but then you need to shift your focus because you can only work so much. You can only work so hard. This is what, Dave, you went kicking and screaming on it, right?
Yep.
Because you wanted to do it all yourself. Like you couldn't let go and create those systems. It's hard. That's where people mess up, and we get scars that way, right? Because we start to hand stuff off. It doesn't work out. Shit hits the fan. Now we got to scramble and we're back in it. So it is tricky moving from growing to scaling. And the difference of grow to scale is grow, you're growing your profit. You're growing your revenue and your bottom line profit. When you scale, you're making more money, but you're working the same amount of hours or less hours. So you're buying back your time. So yeah, you might make 100 to 350. You might be less money, but now you're only working 5 hours a week. And if that's what you want, it's badass, man. I would love to see you making 50K less a year. And instead of working 40 hours a week, you work 5. That's awesome if that's what you want to do. Maybe that frees you up to go all in on an online coaching program like a lot of our clients have done. Matt Chenard's crushing it with his online coaching program after he did this with his gym. Shannon Logan's building her online program now that her revenues are north of 70K a month with 40% fewer clients, right? So she has successfully scaled, which then you have an abundance of money and time to do what you want and grow how you want. Some of you are going to want to do multiple locations, and we're helping a lot of you do that, which is awesome. Works for us. But that's where we want to go. This is the journey, okay? So the bottom line is you need to have 30 to 50% profit margins to really do this. And yeah, I just wanted to rush and finish this up so you guys could see 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 in a location to see how all that works. So let's see. We need to go into, how does this thing work, right? So how does this payroll work? How are we achieving high margins like this? Well, there are 4 main roles. 4 main roles for work inside the club. Okay. So number 1, sales. Straightforward, right? So how do we compensate salespeople? Well, sales is usually what the last role that the owner gets out of. There are exceptions to this. Sometimes you have a sales killer. And if you are lucky enough to have a sales killer, get out of it. Let them do their thing. In many cases, it is the last role that gym owners get out of. So, Dave, you train sales killers for gym owners. Like, who are some of the people that you have, some gym owners that we've taken through our high ticket launch program, taught how to sell high ticket, and then they're like, cool, now train my staff so I can get out of it?
Jessica, I don't know how to say her last name. She just graduated from our last cohort. When Jeff was on our live, what was it, a couple months ago?
Yeah.
I was kind of poking fun at Jeff. I'm like, Jessica's going to sell better than you, man. So, like with his team, it's Tina and Jessica. So both of them, they're actually building their own audience using Will's organic content. Jeff's lucky enough to where he has 2 sales killers that are both doing organic content, bringing in leads. Both Jessica and Tina are just absolute killers. So those are 2. Speaking of Matt Chenard, Matt Chenard's put a couple people through the program. That's what has allowed him to pull out of his role too. So, but shout out to Jessica. I think she's already sold like 4 or 5 high ticket since going through the cohort.
That's awesome. Jared and Elaine, I know Shannon's put people through. Yeah, it's the hardest thing to get out of for most of you, but it's absolutely doable. I do 0 sales for any of the gyms, obviously. So you can do it. They need training. They're going to need development, right? But the way to compensate them, this can, and again, I'm going to show you kind of how I normally do it. Our model and your model might not be the same. So this can be done in any model. We work with CrossFits and semi-private gyms and PT studios and everything in between and boot camps. So they'll vary a little bit. So this might not be 100% applicable to you, but I'll show you kind of what's done more often than not, right? But if you are the owner operator doing most of the sales, you're not paying anything, right? If you're paying somebody else to do it, a lot of times you get 10% on the front end of a sale, which is great, right? So when you're selling something that's $600 to $6,000, yeah, they can make a $600 commission right there. And then they fall in love with that job, and it's amazing. Okay. But the 4 main roles. So let's go through them first, then get into it. So number 1, sales, right? Then there's the delivery of coaching. Now, coaching, I'll put /NC, because coaching means different things to different businesses. If you're in the PT world, you call them trainers. If you're usually in the group world, you usually call them coaches. But what we're going to refer this to is the delivery of the nutrition coaching or mentorship program. Okay. So we'll call it mentorship nutrition coaching, just to delineate so we don't confuse people. Okay. So you have those 2 things. So you've got deliver the mentorship or nutrition coaching. Now, some of you might say, hey, Scott, I don't have that. You are missing out big time. Or, hey, I've been through a program. I've been through HSN. I've been through Prosper. I've been through, what's John Berardi's one? Precision Nutrition, right? But I don't have anybody really own that. Like, it's the easiest thing to do. You don't need to be an RD, okay? But if you have it and aren't selling it for high value, you're missing out like crazy. Like absolute, you have no idea how much. And that's the crux of like selling high ticket, is not selling nutrition coaching. It's not very sexy, right? You're selling an identity shift. And we have many trainings on that, and we teach exactly how to do that. That's what Dave is a killer at. He teaches people how to sell this thing, and not for a $99 a month more, right? But for a big amount more. Most people are coming into your gym not to work out, but to see a change. So if you don't have a high ticket mentorship / nutrition coaching option, you are missing out like nobody's business. That's how we built everything. Okay. So we have that. Now, on this one, it's pretty easy. You can basically, like, if you're the one doing it, great. No expense on it. If you're having a staff member deliver on it, which is very easy to do, we teach your staff members how to do that too. And it's the easiest program. Simple is what scales, right? The program has to be stupid simple in order to scale. And that's how it's built. And it works. So anyways, the delivery of the mentorship of the nutrition coaching, That you can pay in just like an hourly rate. Now, because it's a high value thing, we like to pay a little bit more than we would something else. Dave, I think you typically like to do like $1 a minute, right?
Buck a minute. Buck a minute.
So, and most of these sessions are going to be like maybe the first ones are 30 minutes and then to 20 minutes before, right? And that's up to you guys. We don't tell you exactly how we tell you exactly how you can do it. If you want to do it slightly different, totally okay. But $1 a minute. So if it's 30 minutes, it's $30. Okay. Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. A high ticket program easily covers that like crazy. Okay. Now, the third role. So you have sales, you have the delivery of the mentorship or nutrition coaching, right? Then you have the delivery of the workouts. Obviously, right? This is what some people call coaching. This is what other people call training. Now, this varies if you have a group model, semi-private, or a PT model. If it's group, you most likely have a flat fee. Some of you might have a little bit of a spiff depending on attendance. Some of you don't. A lot of you don't. But you'll have some kind of a fixed hour, right? Now, that's an easy way to do it. Let's talk about the other thing, which is if it's not group and you're doing one-on-one or you're doing small group or semi-private training, you can choose to do an hourly. Okay, an hourly rate or a percentage. Some people do 4/9. I think that's retarded. You're not supposed to say that. Sorry. You're not supposed to say retarded anymore. 4/9. That equals 0.4444%. Okay. So that's too high, right? If we looked at all of this stuff, well, the reports are gone, so we can't really look at that. But if we looked at that, like what I said is the payroll is looking at like 28.6% this past year. The year before was 25.5. Not going to happen right here, right? We're not going to see that at all. So the way that we do this, and we do a lot of this overlapping personal training. So we kind of merged semi-private in with one-on-one for a lot of different reasons. We did that because one-on-one is great. It brings in a lot of revenue. But the problem is it's hard to scale. Why? Because everybody wants primetime mornings. Everybody wants primetime evenings. And the big issue with that is now you need to hire more for the 5 p.m.s, the 6 p.m.s, the 9 a.m.s. And the issue is you have to pay a decent amount. You have to pay a larger percentage on it. And you have to hire more trainers that aren't necessarily that invested in your company because they don't have a lot of hours. If you got to always hire for the prime time hours, there's not enough other hours to fully employ them. And this is what Dave and we ran through this all the time, didn't we? We'd hire it's that awkward thing. We need to hire somebody, but we're underemploying them. And then poof, they're gone and there go the clients. It's just this hamster wheel that we were in, right? And then we had private, then we had semi-private. What were our semi-private rates at the Arrowhead location, Dave?
Was that 30? It was $30 a session. That was kind of the gold standard.
30. And then I think in other locations, which we thought were our richer or higher demographic locations, it was 35 or maybe even 40.
I think we touched 40 at some point closer to 2020.
Yep, absolutely. And so then we paid out per head. But there's also minimum wage. Like, the thing is like we're still not making big margins and we're diluting it because our capacity goes up, but we're collecting so much less and our profits are thinner. So it had the potential, if it was full, to make a little bit more money than one-on-one, but then we have to find 3 to 4 times as many people. And it was a massive pain in the ass too. And so what we ran into was a scaling problem there. And we ran into a volume model. Let's see if I can find a slide on overlapping PT to show people real quick. Here we go. Right. So this is what it looked like. Let's say you're charging $80 revenue and you're paying out 30. You're making $50 profit on PT. Now, semi-private, let's say you got 4 clients going at $30. So it's a full hour. The revenue is 50% more. So you're at $120 an hour, but maybe you're paying out $10 a head, which is probably a little too low. If you're doing one, you probably have to pay out more. So instead of making $50 profit, you're making $80 profit, which is good, but you had to get 4 times as many people for that. So in order to achieve scale, you're taking a massive haircut. And so we merged PT and semi-private together into what we call overlapping personal training. And then we're able to work with people like it's PT and call it PT and schedule it PT. We schedule everybody in their recurring slots. Obviously, you have one-offs and you move them around when you need to. We treat them like one-on-one people. When they happen to overlap, we just work with multiple people at once. It's a beautiful model. And something like that, you get 4 clients at $80, 360 in revenue. Let's say you're paying $20 a head, which is going to make your trainers really a lot of money. You can make $280 profit compared to 80 or 50. It's crazy. So 2 things allowed us to make massive margins: overlapping PT. Okay. And if you're all group, that's okay. You don't have to do this, but I will tell you what, I have some of the world's biggest franchises calling us, asking about how to do this in their gyms because they realize group only is a lot harder, and some people aren't going to make it. They need to make changes. This is what you need to do. I can promise you, if your group, if you're the outlier, the 1%, you don't have to worry about it. Okay. But everybody else, you need to consider adding something like this. Okay. But it's overlapping PT, and it's a high ticket program where we are selling the nutrition, the accountability, the mentorship, what people really need when they come in our doors, not just the workouts. Those 2 things are what allows us to get 50% friggin' profit margins. Okay. So that explains that a little bit. Let's go back to, where's my calculator? I'm working for you guys. Okay. Delivery of the workouts. Yes. So if you are, group, you guys are probably paying 20 to 30, maybe higher, maybe lower, right? But what you can do for the overlapping PT is you can pay 15 to 20 per head. Okay. So the great thing is, let's say you sign up somebody, right? And there's only one person, 3 p.m. It's kind of a down hour, 2 p.m. You sign up one person. If it's semi-private, you might be breaking even for 4 months until you get somebody else added to that hour. With overlapping PT, you're still making like, quite a bit on it, a lot on it. Let's say you're giving 20 out of the 80 for it. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. You're making 75% margins on that, right? So that is excellent right there. So 15 to 20 head. What that does for trainers too, and here's a great example of a schedule on one of them in Mind Body, but you can see this trainer has 100 PT sessions on the book. 100 PTs for one trainer. Sometimes he's working with one person, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. We cap it at 4, right? So we don't dilute the experience. But if he's got 100 PT sessions on the book, let's do the math on that. 100 PT sessions on the books, times, let's say it's the upper level of it, $20. You're paying out $20 a head. It's $2,000 a week. Okay. Times 4.3 weeks, times 12 months. It's $100,000 job right there. But again, on that model, we're making 75% margins. That's pretty damn awesome, guys. That's pretty damn awesome. Like, that is a win-win. And the clients win. You may be like, people are not going to pay that for something that's not true one-on-one. That's what I thought too, until Dave proved me wrong on that shit. Right?
I mean, the workout just doesn't really matter that much. Like I've landed on, I'm so obsessed with the, my new form of training, high intensity training. But at the end of the day, man, it just really doesn't matter. If the client doesn't have a strategy for the 165, 167 hours that they're not in your studio, then they're not going to see the result that they want at the end of the day. So
yep.
And at the end of the day, people shouldn't pay. I say it all the time. People shouldn't pay for workouts. They should pay for solutions. So when you bundle this all in to where someone comes in and they're getting workouts, they're getting accountability, they're working with a health coach, maybe you have a registered dietitian, then it's fail proof, and someone will easily pay 500, 600, 800, $1,000 a month for that solution. And they don't care that they're sharing their time with potentially 2 to 3 other people.
No, because we're meeting them where they're at and what they're looking for. Guys, people don't really want to work out. They need to change their life. They need to get shit in order. Dave teaches you how to do that in the sales process, get to what they really want. And what he's alluding to, guys, is like, there's 3 main people that come in. People have a strong pain or desire to change. That's your high ticket people right there. Okay. These people are going to pay you $2 to $8 grand for something like a 9-week program. There are some people who maybe don't have that big of a bleeding neck to solve, or they can't afford that. And that's cool too. That's where your mid-ticket offer comes in. Your mid-ticket offer comes right in there, somewhere between $5.99 to $14.99 for something like 6 weeks. Okay. And then this is what you already do. Some people, hey, I don't care about any of that, or I'm not ready for it. I just want to start getting some workouts. I want to move, sweat, and have fun. Cool. Yeah, that's what we got. Right. We got 2 options. We got group, or we have personal training. Right. And that's how you do it. It's so stupidly simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It's really, really easy. So that's kind of what we pay out for that role. Now, there's another role, right? Admin. Add me on. That's spelled wrong. Admin. Okay. So this is where I go nuts sometimes when when I've been in other masterminds or this, that, and people are just going into the weeds on like a customer service manager and this and this and this, all this admin shit. I'm like, what are you spending your time doing? Like, there's not much admin to do. If you have your system, like, if you have remember to scale, it needs to be simple. If you have so much to do and so much to sort, your business is too fucking you're making it too complicated. Or somebody that you're working with is making it too complicated. Simple. When it's too complicated, what you get away from is doing the 20% of things that you need to do that'll get you 95% of the way there. There's a lot of things that we could do better, but we choose not to because it pulls us away from what we need to do. It's just, sure, we could marginally get better here, but like, what for? What is it going to cost us to do that? And it drives me nuts when I see so much mental masturbation about building out obscure SOPs that are never going to be looked at. Like, guys, simplify the shit out of your business and hit the gas pedal. And then when your revenue and your cash flow is there, scale out, replace yourself. How do you replace yourself? It's easiest on the floor, the delivery of the workouts, then the delivery of the mentorship and nutrition coaching, then sales. Ta-da, you're done. And then what you can do, like the admin is so little, either you do it all or you have your staff do it as part of their jobs. It's so little that it's easy. And what we've created is to get out, the role that we've created is the GM or the mayor role. We like to call it the mayor, right? They just own the town at that point. And it can be done differently, okay? And I'll try to get to questions too as I see it. Becky, thanks for asking. What do you do to communicate to clients when you're signing up about the fact that they'll overlap with another client? God, it's so simple, Becky. It's just the language you use. They actually see it as more valuable because what you're doing, like, bottom line is the people who want to pay you for something like personal training, people are willing to spend $500, $600, $700, $800, $900, $1,000, $1,200 a month every single month. What do they value most? They value their time. They value their time. They want to come in when it's convenient for them. They might want to come in at 5 p.m. on their way home from work instead of coming back into your gym at 7:30 or 8 p.m. because that's the only time you have available for them because you have one-on-one and you're booked up. They want that convenience when it fits into their lives. Okay. So I used to be broke as hell. And I would be like, how are people paying this much for personal training? It's nuts. Now I'm on the other side of that coin. I am definitely willing to pay a premium to get exactly what I want and make it convenient in my life. And if something's not convenient for me, I'm dropping it. I just don't have time for it. They don't want to go home, right? And then wait around, have dinner. Now they're getting tired, right? Blah, blah, blah. They're going to have to miss out on stuff with their kids or with something with their wife or their husband, and then go back in the gym. Then they get home at like 9 o'clock, have to shower. Like, they don't want that. So the cool thing is like you give them more versatility with their hours and when it's convenient for them. They get more consistency in. Because again, when you have a packed one-on-one training schedule, you can't move them around anywhere. Sorry, you just don't get a workout. It's way easier. And Becky, there's a lot more trainings we have on that as well, on exactly how to sell overlapping PT. So anyways, this GM mayor role, this can be done several different ways. You can do this as a flat salary, right? What I like doing is salary plus a performance bonus. This can be based on gross or net. Okay. This can be, and I like to keep the salary lower because the bottom line is this place has to be profitable and I'm not the one responsible when I get out of it. So when I hire for a mayor, I make it very clear what that role is, right? This is your studio. You own this sucker, right? When there's a customer service issue, it's you. If there's a bad review that needs to be responded to, that's you. If somebody throws a brick through the window at 3 a.m., right? And you get a call from the alarm company or the police or whatever. That's you, right? So they really own it. That's how I've been able to replace myself and do multiple locations. Now, you might not want to do that right off the bat, but it's a good way to do it. So I don't like a flat salary quite often on that. But a lot of this is who is in front of me and how are they motivated too. But I love a salary plus a performance bonus. You can do it on the gross where it's a percentage of revenue and it's like they get a royalty basically, or you can do it where it's on basically some profit sharing. And that's a really cool thing because they get to have ownership of it. If the business doesn't make money, they don't get the bonus. And that's really cool. Dave, that's what you were on before you became a partner, right?
Yep. I loved it.
You were making six figures, easy.
Yep. It's
Six figures.
It was a dream. I felt like I'm the type of personality, I like to be in control of my own destiny. So like you never, that's what allowed you. I mean, you probably stepped inside of Arrowhead the 5 years that I ran it, maybe once. Yeah. And the reason being is like I was making great money and I was basically you just handed me the keys and said, take care of the place. And you built me a compensation package that just allowed me to just go. And I felt like it was my own.
Yeah. And you just killed it. You just absolutely crushed it. So yeah, you can do it like that where salary plus performance. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. Another way that you could do it where, because a lot of times that GM or mayor is doing a little bit of everything. They're doing a little bit of sales, a little bit of the mentorship potentially, and they're maybe doing a little bit on the floor. Just depends on where your business is at, right? How full it is and what that is. But they're getting paid on the delivery of the workouts. They're getting paid on the delivery of the mentorship or nutrition coaching, and they're getting paid on sales. So in case you do that, so this would be, combination of number 1 plus number 2 plus number 3 plus what I did this for Shaner's. We did back end commission. So when he renewed the people, he got it on the back end. So eventually that becomes almost like a percentage of the gross in a way. And it worked out very well. So instead of a base, you could do number 1, 2, and 3, and then give a percentage of all the overall commission. And so the best thing to do is your business is going to be a little bit different than mine, right? The best thing to do is to put these things in a spreadsheet, take a look at it, and figure out what's the best comp plan for this person. But yeah, those are the 4 roles. Guys, don't overcomplicate this shit, right? Sales, you've got the delivery of the mentorship or nutrition coaching, delivery of the workouts, and you've got admin, which should be little, very, very, very little. And that should be, right? Anybody delivering workouts needs to track them and check them off. Same thing with the mentorship, nutrition coaching. Whoever's in charge of doing the sales, yeah, they need to be recording that shit. You don't need much. We've got a spreadsheet. We've got, our software system, which we run like 3 main reports off of. Done. Mail it in, right? Collect the money on your P&L. It's not that difficult. I take that back. It's not complicated. It's simple. But simple doesn't mean it's easy either. Simple doesn't mean it's easy either. Now, for those of you still on too, and watching, have something that is really cool. We literally just figured this out 2 days ago. And so I wanted to mention it to you. So we have a program where we teach you how to do all of this. Every single thing that we've mentioned and how to bolt on high ticket into your gym. And a lot of you know about it, right? Where we help you build it, your high, mid, low ticket, integrate into your business, sell it, which is getting the leads in the door in the first place. We will help you drive in leads and we will help you sell this stuff. We give you our whole fulfillment model, simple scales. You don't need to spend 100 hours trying to build out a system that works and test it over 3 years. Okay. You get to just take ours, just copy and paste it, steal it. It's done. We spent friggin' 12 years perfecting this shit, right? Just take it. And then we teach you how to renew them and convert them into long-term clients. That whole program, there's a lot of it. There's a lot in it. Like you're on with us 3 times a week with Zooms. It is not like, here's a video portal. We'll talk once. Good luck. That shit doesn't work. That shit does not work. I mean, for like 1% of people. But it's very intensive in what we do. And we have just figured out really how to make it massively affordable to people. and where it's no joke, you can get started for less than $600. It's nuts. It took us a long time to crack that nut and to find out how to do that. But it's pretty damn awesome. And if, you know, what I'd like you to do, if you're interested in all in this, if any of this resonates, like, yeah, I need to do some of this shit this year, I want you to hop on a call. Don't worry, right? It's not a high pressure thing where we are not going to press you with a damn thing. You talk about what's holding you back. We'll get an idea of your business, your model, your prices, your format, what your constraints are. We will give you a roadmap for exactly how you want to solve those things. If you want, if this program, you're like, this program's awesome, is exactly what I want, cool. We can chat about it. If you don't, and you're like, hey, this has been great information, I see where I need to go, I want to give a shot on my own, great. That's great too. There's no pressure on this. We have the most amazing damn community, and it's because we do things completely different than any other mentorship that we've been a part of, Dave. And bottom line is we showed you our P&Ls. We're pretty good financially from those things. Okay. 6 gyms overall. 7th gym is opening. When's our grand opening now? We had to push it because of that certificate.
Yeah, might have to push it again. Like you said, this is it's simple, but there's always obstacles. So probably February.
I was chatting with Brandon yesterday, and there's the certificate of occupancy from the city is what's holding us up.
Yeah.
7th one is hard opening, but you guys brought in a shit ton of new business organically without paid ads last month.
We're already at 17 new clients without the grand opening, so it's moving.
That's pretty badass. And yeah, longer to go. So can't wait till we actually open on that one. Hey, just quick reminder to everybody, if you are ready to start making an extra $10,000 more this month, every month, by making more money with less clients with transformational programs and create a consistent flow of high quality leads, you can learn more about what it's like to work with me and my team at PT Legends and how ridiculously affordable it is at CoachScottCarpenter.com. It is such a no-brainer that it more than pays for itself when we teach you how to enroll just two case study clients. Really, that's it. So go to CoachScottCarpenter.com and learn more about it. Comment call below. Comment call, and we'll reach out to you. You can get an hour with us. We'll give you a roadmap if you want to hear about this and how you can get started for less than $600. Badass. Let's do it. And if you just want to leave with a game plan, that's great too. Keep coming to our lives. Keep soaking this in, because guys, I want you to build this life. I want you to build that life of freedom where you have the freedom to live life on your own terms. You have the finances, you have the time, and you're worry-free. Very important. So I don't care how you get there. I just want you to get there. So that's all I have for you today. Guys, thanks for watching this live. I know it's going to be really valuable for you. Comment call. We'll see you on a call soon. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Same time, 12 p.m. PST, 3 p.m. EST next Thursday. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you are ready to start making an extra $10,000 a month or more this month by making more money with less clients and create a consistent flow of high-quality leads, you can learn about what it's like to work with me and how ridiculously affordable it is at CoachScottCarpenter.com. And if you got any value out of this episode, please pay it forward and leave a review for this show. It helps other gym owners find the answers to the huge problems that we all share. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.